Hey everyone, hope you all had a good holiday. After a little Christmas and New Year break, we're back taking a trip to the 1970s to revisit the sitcom Happy Days. This beloved show brought the charm of the 1950s to life with unforgettable characters like Richie, Fonzie and the gang at Arnold's Drive-In. But how much do you really know about what went on behind the scenes? We're diving deep into the history of this classic series, so dust off your leather jacket and get ready for 20 things you never knew about Happy Days. When creator Gary Marshall was first approached by Paramount executives Michael Eisner and Tom Miller in 1971 to develop a new sitcom, they envisioned a setting in the 1920s or 30s. Marshall, however, admitted he knew little about flappers, but suggested he could create a show based on the era of his own youth, the 1950s. He crafted a pilot centered on a Midwestern family who had just bought their first television, the first in the neighborhood, and how the teenage son intended to use it as a way to attract girls. The series didn't get picked up, and the pilot was eventually aired as a segment on Love American Style, which Marshall described as the dumping ground of failed pilots. George Lucas's Oscar-nominated 1973 film American Graffiti sparked a wave of 1950s nostalgia, despite being set in 1962. When American Graffiti became a runaway success, the studio decided the moment was perfect for a 1950s-themed sitcom, leading to the revival of Gary Marshall's project. Marshall wanted to call it Cool, but test audiences associated the name Cool with cigarettes, prompting producer Carl Kleinschmidt to propose a new title. He suggested Happy Days, as that's what they were going to show. Ron Howard wasn't keen on taking on another series, as he had recently enrolled at USC's School of Cinematic Arts to pursue his dream of becoming a director. However, one concern weighed heavily on him: a low draft number. With student deferments no longer being issued, Howard faced the possibility of being drafted for the Vietnam War. There was hope for an occupational deferment, though, if his job directly supported the employment of 30 or more people. Fortunately, Paramount was a sizable company with enough employees who would be affected if their star was drafted. This prompted Howard to sign on to play Richie Cunningham. Although the pilot didn't sell, Howard was able to relax when President Nixon ended the draft shortly after filming. When Henry Winkler received a call back after his first audition for the role of Arthur Fonzarelli, he was surprised to find himself competing against former Monkees drummer Mickey Dolenz. Winkler later admitted to Dolenz that his first thought was, "Oh crap, Mickey is here, I'll never get it." Dolenz had been Gary Marshall's initial choice for Fonzie, thanks to a recent guest role as a biker on Adam 12. However, at 6 feet tall, Dolenz towered over the 5'9" Ron Howard, making Winkler a better fit for the role. As a child, Henry Winkler struggled in school despite his best efforts. His German-born parents nicknamed him Dummer Hund, meaning dumb dog, which did little to bolster his self-esteem. It wasn't until he was 31 years old that Winkler was diagnosed with dyslexia. When he auditioned for Happy Days, his script had only 6 lines, but he improvised them because he couldn't read them. Giving lines that weren't in the script, Winkler said to the producers, "I'm giving you the essence of the character, and if I get the part, I'll do it verbatim." Rocked Around the Clock by Bill Haley and his Comets spent 8 weeks at the top of the Billboard charts in 1955. The original single version was used on Happy Days only once, for the first episode. Haley later recorded a new version of the song specifically for the series, which was featured in the opening credits during the show's first 2 seasons. From seasons 3 to 10, Happy Days was used at the beginning of the show. Released as a single in 1976, it made the top 5. For the show's final season, the theme was re-recorded in a more modern style. If you're enjoying the video, a subscribe to the channel would be what makes every day a happy day. Some of the names used on the show were inspired by Gary Marshall's real life. Marshall's wife had gone to school with a boy named Potsy Weber, and Richie Cunningham was a nice boy who attended the same church as Marshall. The first home the Marshalls bought was on Arcola Street, which is used as Chachi's surname. Marshall's young son, an avid Star Wars fan, had suggested that space people should appear on Happy Days. leading to the creation of the alien character Mork from Ork. When Robin Williams arrived to film the My Favourite Orkin episode, Winkler recalled that his biggest challenge as an actor was keeping a straight face while Williams went off on his hilarious tangents. In the Season 5 episode, Hollywood Part 3, Fonzie goes water skiing and literally jumps over a shark. It was seen as a turning point, with many feeling it marked a shift towards over-the-top antics as a desperate ratings ploy. After that, the show never quite regained its earlier momentum. The phrase jumping the shark has since become a term used to describe a show that has passed its peak and is now beyond redemption. Winkler had been a water skiing instructor as a teenager at a summer camp, which is how the famous Jump the Shark episode came to be, as he told Gary Marshall about his hidden talent. Winkler performed all of his own stunts except for the actual shark jump. The producers didn't want to risk allowing their star to attempt such a dangerous stunt. Winkler also wore a special leather jacket with the lining removed for his time on skis. On the subject of the leather jacket, initially he mostly wore a windbreaker, but eventually the leather jacket became a staple of his character. One of the iconic jackets is now displayed in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. You may not remember Richie's older brother, Chuck Cunningham. He didn't appear in many episodes and was mysteriously written out of the show with no on-screen explanation. Later episodes were even scripted as if the character had never existed. As a result, the term Chuck Cunningham syndrome was coined to describe characters who disappear without any acknowledgement. There are various interpretations of what qualifies as a spin-off, but depending on how you define them, Happy Days had anywhere between 2 and 7. The most widely accepted spin-offs were Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, and Joni Loves Chachi. Then there were Blanks' Beauties and Out of the Blue, followed by the animated series The Fonz and the Happy Days Gang, and Laverne and Shirley in the Army, which was later renamed Laverne and Shirley with special guest star The Fonz. There were also another couple of pilot spin-offs which didn't get picked up. They certainly tried to milk the show for all it was worth. Happy Days' Season 4 opener featured a 3-part story arc titled Fonzie Loves Pinky. The major headline was that Fonzie was going to find true love, and the object of his affection was a daredevil named Pinky. Pinky was portrayed by Roz Kelly, an actress who had caught the eye of ABC executive Fred Silverman and become one of his pet projects. Silverman believed Kelly could be the female Fonzie. Unfortunately, Kelly's brassy and abrasive personality didn't mesh well with the rest of the cast, particularly her love interest. In the end, Pinky was quietly written out of the series. While playing high school students on the show, most of the main cast members were in their 20s. Henry Winkler, who portrayed Fonzie, was the oldest at 29 when the show first began. Tom Hanks played Fonzie's frenemy in an episode from Season 10, karate kicking the Fonz through a window at the drive-in. Because of this performance, he was recommended for the lead role in Splash, which was being directed by Ron Howard. Fonzie's iconic catchphrase, "Ayy," which has been parodied in countless other shows, was inspired by Henry Winkler's real-life experiences. The actor would use the term to express excitement or approval, and it eventually became a trademark of the Fonzie character. Gary Marshall thought it would be fun to create a Happy Days all-star softball team, bringing together the cast and crew to play. They occasionally faced other celebrity teams before major league games and even toured military bases in Europe and Japan. In 2011, cast members Anson Williams, Donnie Most, Erin Moran and Marion Ross, along with Tom Bosley's widow, filed a lawsuit against CBS, which now owns Happy Days, and Paramount Pictures, which produced the show, for failure to pay merchandising revenues, specifically from slot machines. Initially seeking $10 million, the actors ultimately settled for a reported $65,000 each. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about Happy Days. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.